Hi, Pylon listeners. Just a quick scheduling note coming up for you. So the Packers play on Monday Night Football here in Week 4. That's going to cause a little difference in our scheduling. So we're actually going to record on Tuesday night, it looks like. And our reaction to Week 4 will come out on Wednesday, and then we'll have a preview episode come out on next Thursday. We just want everybody to know. Enjoy your weekend. Sit back, relax. It's time for our Week 4 preview pod. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pylon and NFC North podcast. We're recording this on September 30th. The end of September has approached us, and Week 4 of the NFL season is also approaching us. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season. I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions, and just going around really quick with the rest of the Pylon crew, we got Remy representing the Minnesota Vikings.
For the love of God, stop with the tank for Trevor. Skull, baby.
Oh, boy. Then we got Kinger representing the Packers.
Good evening, gentlemen. Go Pack. Good to be back again.
And then Barney representing the Bears.
What's up, guys? It's been fun in Club Dub. Let's keep it rolling.
All right, so we roll into Week 4, and if you don't remember, the Bears and Packers atop at 3-0, Lions at 1-2, and the Vikings 0-3. But before we get into previewing Week 4 and all that good stuff, Remy, would you mind giving us an update? So if you're not aware, listeners, the Titans had about 3 players test positive for COVID and 5 staffers, and then one additional one on Tuesday was also reported. That game, their game against the Steelers, was postponed either Monday or Tuesday. They're not allowed even in their facility until Saturday. The Vikings have had no positive cases as right now, Remy, right? And could you also tell us the status of that game?
Yeah, that's correct. No positive cases reported out of Minnesota. Their game still is scheduled. They plan to return to practice tomorrow. So it's all looking good for Minnesota, despite their playing on the field.
Yeah, so finally some good news, Remy, for you. The Vikings are all healthy, at least COVID wise. That's gonna be a little smile on your face for this week, right? Some positive news out there.
That's about the only positive news out there.
I think it's pretty good. We almost made it, though, Big Z, like you said, almost a quarter of the way through the season without there being any sort of COVID issues with the players. I think AJ Terrell of the Falcons last week, was the first player actually to test positive this season, but it seems like they've done a pretty good job thus far. So we'll be interesting to see what happens from here, because now it's an official thing here. They're something they're going to have to deal with now.
Yeah, and the NFL's really coming down. Like, we saw the coaches get fined for not wearing a mask, like over $100,000. The NFL has threatened suspensions and loss of draft picks as well if there's any further wrongdoings. Like the Raiders this past weekend, I guess, were at a charity event not wearing masks, and they got the shit storm on them earlier this week. So if the NFL sees something like that, you could lose like a 4th or 3rd round draft pick potentially, which that would hurt way worse for the organization, I feel. So the NFL's taking it pretty seriously, and that contact tracing watch they have is pretty cool as well. They've spent a lot of money on that type of stuff. But COVID stuff beside, there's also some other big news in the NFC North. Barney, is there some news about a possible quarterback switch or something made more permanent that we already kind of suspected?
Yeah, Bears made it official on Monday that Nick Foles will be under center for the foreseeable future. So not just a commitment to, Week 4. It looks like this is moving forward. So I think it's his ball to lose. So
I think that's the first time I've ever heard him call him Nick Foles and not Big Dick Nick. So speaking of Nick Foles, Barney, let's start previewing Week 4 now, shall we? So the Bears are at home in a Midwest battle. Now it's an AFC-NFC matchup for you. The 2-1 Colts visiting you in Chicago. So how are you feeling about this matchup? And also, if you could give an update about any injuries to the listeners. I know there's Tariq Cohen news, right? Just give an update on Tariq Cohen as well.
Yeah, so Tariq Cohen did, in fact, tear his ACL on that punt return. So he's done for the year, which is a bit of a loss for our offense just because he was just a joker back that, opposing defensive coordinators had to plan for. But like you said, we have Indy and it's next man up. I expect David Montgomery to increase in market share here. We just activated Artavius Pierce, an undrafted rookie that showed that he has a little bit of life and whatnot. He's a very active back, but I really don't think he's going to be contributing all too much. I think it'll be mostly David Montgomery back there with one of our guys, Ryan Nall. But just let's get into this game. The Bears are going to have their hands full with Indy here. Defensively, through the first 3 weeks, no one's been better than Indy. They have a stout run-stopping unit featuring DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard, who make it very hard for opposing offensive coordinators to plan against. They also have a very opportunistic secondary behind a rejuvenated Xavier Rhodes. And I know that's going to sting a little bit there, Remy, because he was pretty bad last year for you guys. But he's got a pair of INTs. He took one to the house last week. But just a very stout defense that has been beating the daylights out of their opponents lately. But, they haven't really had the toughest schedule. They faced Gardner Minshew and the Jags. They faced Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, and they faced Sam Darnold and the Jets. So, take that with a grain of salt. But they are definitely they're a nasty D. Offensively, the Colts run the ball really well against a good O-line. I expect Pagano to try to stack the box and get out of our dime coverage that we've shown the past 2 games and try to stop the run here.
And Barney, I think the Colts offensive line has started in over 30-plus games together. The same 5 offensive linemen, which is super impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. They have taken a bit of a step back from last year's dominance, but they're still a top-tier unit that usually imposes their will in the trenches. So, I expect Danny Trevathan to get back some of his playing time here, because our whole philosophy this week has just got to be stopping the run because they get a lot of chunk yardage in play-action passing. This is usually a defense an offense that matches up well with the Bears in terms of for us being able to silence their attack. But we don't have our run stoppers that we had in the past with Eddie Goldman and whatnot. But I that's where the game's going to be won and lost. If we can stop them in their rushing attack, I really don't think an old veteran Phillip Rivers is going to be able to pass all over our really good secondary. So, Nick Foles is facing there's a lot of funny little matchups. Nick Foles is facing Frank Reich, right? His old quarterback's coach that when they won the Super Bowl together.
Yeah.
Pagano's facing his old, team that he was a head coach for. So it's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game. I know I'm a broken record when I say this stuff, but I think the Bears are going to pull this one out. I don't know what it was. It was just, Nick Foles came in. He had 6 drives and had 5, touchdowns. Obviously only 3 counted, and 2 of them are dropped, but that's not on Foles. So the offense looked much better with him. He just looks so much calmer. Trubisky's really got a lot of physical attributes and athleticism to him to where Nick Foles doesn't, but there's just a sense of calm that Nick Foles has that he doesn't panic, and he's really, really good inside the pocket in discovering that the packages that he's facing and the coverages. And that really showed in the last quarter when he was given the rock. So, I expect the Bears to have a tight game here. I'm going to say 22-19.
Wow. Yeah. Someone else I want to bring up is just the fact you mentioned Colts have 14th best run offense per PFF. Bears have 5th best rush defense. So that should be an interesting matchup. And I really am interested to see the Quentin Nelson, Akeem Hicks battle on the inside. Those are two stalwarts. I love Quentin Nelson. I think you do too, right, Barney, from Notre Dame days? You're a big Notre Dame guy.
Yeah, he's a brawler. He's one of my favorite just linemen, or he's one of my favorite guys in the NFL, to be honest.
Yeah.
The way he has some insane highlight reels. But you're right. Right now, only Aldon Smith has more sacks than Akeem Hicks right now. So
that's wild.
It's going to be a great battle right in the trenches, and the Bears are really going to have to dig deep for 4 quarters here if they're going to want to come out versus a really coached well team.
Absolutely. And Kinger, the Packers got the Monday night game. You're going to have three NFC North noon games here. Is the Bears Colts going to be one that you turn on?
I might just have to tune in to see how Big Dick Nick does in his first start as a Chicago Bear. This is a tough game for me to evaluate because I think I was a little high on the Colts at the beginning of the year. I thought Phillip Rivers maybe had a little bit more in him than what he's shown thus far. I am a believer in that defense, like Barney highlighted, excellent against the run, good playmakers. I think this is going to be a hard-fought game, low scoring. I don't like to say it, but I'm going to give the Bears the edge at home, 19-17 over Indianapolis.
Oh, all right. And I should remind people listening, or tell them, I guess, inform them, the Bears are 2.5-point underdogs this week at home. So interesting line. Usually you see the home team favored by 3 in a close matchup like this. So the Vegas likes the Colts, or just the sharp bettors like the Colts. I'm not sure which one. But Remy, how you feeling about this? You faced the Colts already, so how do you think this Bears team matches up against the Colts?
Yeah, no, I think one thing going into this game is if you want to beat the Colts, you got to stop the run first. Jonathan Taylor is a dog. Hated him at Wisconsin, but knew he was a dog, and he rushed for over 100 yards on Minnesota's defense. And second, you got to get to Phillip Rivers. If you can do that, you're pulling out a victory. 24-17 Chicago.
Oh, all right. And Barney, there's one more question I wanted to ask you about the Bears offense and Tariq Cohen. So Tariq Cohen, a big receiver out of the backfield. He has 6 receptions this year for them, over 14 carries. So, but I'm not worried as much about the carries. But who becomes that receiving back for the Bears out of the backfield, say in like the 2-minute drill?
Yeah, that's exactly why we got somebody like David Montgomery out of Iowa State. This is what he was. He was the captain. He had like 40% of the targets as a running back in that backfield. He's very comfortable. I think he's very Forte-esque, a very patient, shifty guy who's really reliable with his hands. Obviously that's very lofty comparison there. But I think he's not the guy with blazing speed, right? But he's going to be just fine in that passing attack, dump off screens, everything.
I gotcha. Yeah, and this is going to be a really tight game. That line I think is right on the money. I have the Colts winning 23-20. Maybe if there was a home crowd, it'd be different, but no home crowd really changes things. And Phillip Rivers was throwing a lot week 1. I think the Colts have really eliminated that. I think they have a strong – I like their matchup on the offensive line going against this defense, rush-wise. And the Colts still are suffering from a lot of drops, which is highly unusual and usually corrects itself, and I think that starts correcting itself this week. So that's why I have the Colts taking it.
In terms of injuries, it's pretty even. There's really not much going on each side, but offensively for the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr., a promising wide receiver, from USC. He looks like he's not going to be able to suit up this week, but so far he's the second. He's in second in targets for that Colts offense. So honestly, I think it just comes down to if Phillip Rivers is going to be able to. They're going to be able to lean on him if the Bears are able to stop the run.
I think you mentioned it, or I think it's going to be the same exact thing on the other side of the ball. Is can Foles step up this week and make the throws needed when necessary again? So I think this is a very well matched game, to be honest. Because I again hate giving the Bears credit, but it's two solid football teams.
Yeah, it should be a really tight one in Chicago on Sunday afternoon. But let's move on to our second NFC North game at noon on Sunday. And we're going to send it up to you, Remy, in Minnesota, where the Vikings are going to be traveling to Houston. They survived COVID, so they got going after them. But they are 4.5-point underdogs traveling in Houston this week. So injury updates and your initial thoughts on this game.
Yeah, we still it's still not looking good up in Minnesota. You got, two of your top corners still out, plus your additional backup corner out. Minnesota, I mean, they're both sitting at 0-3, both looking for a win. But if I'm Minnesota, I'm not real confident about this game because when Deshaun Watson's on the field, anything can happen. And right now, Minnesota's giving up 34 points per game. We're like number 31 in the NFL. And Viking fans are listening to it. 31st in the NFL, giving up points, surrendering points. Are we back? Is Leslie Frazier still our head coach? And we're only putting up like 25 points. And in this day and age, 25 a game isn't going to cut it. So
yeah, and Minnesota has the worst defense per PFF right now in the NFL.
Half of our defense is banged up. We do know Justin Jefferson is the real deal and a baller, but I honestly, I don't think Minnesota can get it done unless something can happen with their O-line. They've got no business winning this game, or quite frankly, even over 4 games this year. I know we up here in Minnesota see the tank for Trevor trend. That is a crime. If Kirk Cousins, who last year was amongst or the most accurate passer in the league, cannot get it done, don't come throw this college kid in behind a very faulty offensive line. He'll get his professional career ended very quickly. So in this game, I gotta take the Texans 30-10. I think Minnesota gets blown out, completely embarrassed, and I have to just live with it because that's just how my life is right now as a Minnesota sports fan. It is not good. And then you got to wonder if Kubiak's job is on the line. If he starts 0-4, does it then lean on coaching? They just extended Zimmer. This is Gary Kubiak's first year. Why are we not seeing 10 screens a game, whether it's to Dalvin, whether it's to a tight end? This offense has plummeted. You've seen Kirk roll out maybe 3 times, and on one of the
they scored 30 points last week.
They scored 30 points, but we also gave up 31. Then you switch over to the
That's not on the offense, though, is what I'm saying. The Vikings had the worst defense.
You got to be in a real dark place, Remy, if you've only got confidence that the Vikings are only going to score 10 points against that Houston defense, which is in absolute shambles as well, right? Like, there's got to be.
As much as I want to just believe that the offense will go off, I think we get shut down. It's my gut feeling. And I want to say Dalvin has another great game, close to 200 yards, all purpose. I want to say Justin Jefferson has a good game. But every time I get let down, and I'm not expecting much this week. So tank for whoever
Remy,
the best player will be.
So the Houston Texans have the 29th worst ranked defense right now in the NFL per PFF, and also they have a bottom 3 rush defense, and the Vikings are number 1 right now. I think you have to look at that and
exactly
the Vikings are running the ball extremely well. It's a really good matchup from that perspective. And again, I think the bigger problem is the defense, not the offense that you're clamoring on. So, and it's only week 3. The offense is always slower to come to it, usually, especially when there's no preseason and stuff like that. So, and again,
we've been proven.
There's 7 teams that make the playoffs, Remy. You're only 2 games back right now out of that spot with 13 games left to go.
Well,
I don't know why I'm trying to help you get better here.
I appreciate the encouraging words. No, yeah, am I being a little overdramatic? Maybe, but this Viking team is not living up to expectations that we had this season. And I mean, David Johnson is just starting to find his groove. He's a dog, and he is from right here in our backyard in Clinton, Iowa. You and I, boy.
All right, Remy, do you share the similar feelings, or Barney? Do you share the similar feelings, or Remy over here in regards to the Vikings this weekend?
I don't think they come out with a victory, but I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than that, right? The key to me is just not going down early, right? As long as they can establish the run and keep, the first half just competitive, I don't see this being a blowout at all. That way they'll be able to stick to the bread and butter and keep running it. If they go down 2 scores or 3 scores early, then yeah, they're not going to be able to just run the ball. Mm-hmm. And then the play action is not going to really work all that much. But if they use their first couple drives and they're able to move the ball down the field, I don't really think this game's going to get too out of hand. The line I'm seeing is 54.5. I almost like the over here. I think both teams can score points. I'd probably say I'd take Houston 34-24.
All right, Kinger, how are you feeling about this one?
Already alleged problems in the locker room. Love it. Love it.
Oh, I keep going back and forth on this one. It's I like the 27-24 score, Kinger, but I'm gonna go for the Vikings actually on this one. I think the Houston is also giving up the second most sacks in the NFL so far through the year. They have not figured out that part of their side of the ball at all. I think that might be the difference maker, and I love the Vikings run game against this Houston defense. The thing that worries me is Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, Randall Cobb going against the cornerbacks of the Vikings. That is the biggest concern. But I think the Vikings control the time of possession and actually win this game. So I have your score, but for the different teams. So that's going to cover the second NFC North game here at noon. Oh, wait, Remy, did you mention any of the injuries for the Vikings?
Yeah, both of our top corners and our backup corner.
Okay, that's right. Okay. All right, let's move on to the third noon game here, and that's my Detroit Lions. Coming off a big victory on the road in Arizona. They are at home, 4-point underdogs against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints in an unusual position, starting off 1-2 as well. Michael Thomas looks like he's returning this week. So, Kinger, you son of a bitch. The damn Packers get no Michael Thomas, but they bring him back for the Lions. So, you escaped one there. But, man, and the Saints have the least amount of yards to receivers in the NFL currently right now. So, getting Michael Thomas back is just a monstrous boost for them, especially when he averages like over 10 targets a game. The Lions are getting back, it looks like, Desmond Trufant, their cornerback. Jeff Okuda's been struggling a lot. He had an interception last week. He made some flash plays. but he's still a rookie cornerback, and that's one of the toughest positions in the NFL to learn right away. So I expect him to rotate back in, Desmond Trufant to come back and take that starting spot with Amani Warrior on the other side. No Kenny Golladay on the injury report whatsoever. That's great to see. His hamstring held up in the Week 3 performance. So that's really good. We don't have Justin Coleman. He's still on IR. Joe Dahl is also limitedly practicing, which is good. And our right guard, Big V, who's supposed to be our starting right tackle, is not on the injury report. So that's also good news. In the game this week, the Saints have been lambasted by people for Drew Brees and not throwing deep. That concerns me that they're throwing all these short routes, because I think that's what hurts the Lions more is these teams that like to throw a lot more short routes, because the Lions like to play this bend, don't break defense, and they kind of encourage deep throws to get the interceptions and those type of perfect throws. So this does concern me a lot, but I think their defense found something last week that they've been missing for a while. A good performance against a good offensive team. It's a different quarterback. Drew Brees is a pocket quarterback, obviously. And I think dealing with Kyler Murray last week is going to help him with the Taysom Hill in and out that they have there. Hopefully Taysom Hill hands us the ball like they did to you, Kinger, last week. That was a nice little gift he gave to you guys in a clutch situation. I don't anticipate that happening, unfortunately for us. That's not how it goes in Detroit. But us at home, going against the Saints here, I really like it. And, of course, I love the Saints' defense has been struggling a lot. They lead the NFL in penalties still. The Lions' offense is almost at full throttle right now. Matt Stafford looked a lot better last week. I anticipate that to be a really good matchup. Kenny Golladay against Marshawn Lattimore should be fun. Getting him back is also great because the Saints' second cornerback, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you have Marvin Jones. TJ Hawkinson has really been stepping up. They got Jesse James involved last week. That's all really good signs. And Adrian Peterson continues to look like an ageless wonder, Remy. I don't know how he's doing it, man. He's definitely not his younger self, but damn it, he still is sprightly for 35 years old. Do you root for him in Detroit here? Do you root for him to do well?
I'll root for him anywhere he goes. I actually told a person I know on Adrian Peterson's 30th birthday, I said, I'll bet you $20 he's playing until he's 35. And that dude goes, yo, you're crazy. And, well, $20 richer. And that, I mean,
look at you.
He can honestly, he can play. He's got at least 3 more years in him, at least.
I hope he didn't put that 20 on the Minnesota Vikings to win the Super Bowl this year.
I'm getting it bad.
Kinger, if you could just help me out here really quick and just tell me what you saw the Packers do so well offensively against this Saints defense, and what do you think the Lions will exploit offensively as well?
Well, again, I'm not going to go ahead and just discredit the Lions and their offensive capabilities off the start, but I still think we're dealing with a couple of different, a little different level skills from the Packers and Lions. Wow. Not to diminish you guys too much, but I think they really kept the Saints defense off guard all night, right? Absolutely ate them alive with the play action and bootleg. Sean Payton said today that he felt his team looked like high schoolers. Defending the play action, specifically the bootleg last week. We were able to run the ball pretty effectively, but ultimately really allowing Rodgers the time to pick apart that defense, keeping them off balance with that. I think the Lions need to try and focus on the run and try and maybe exploit that, because it was very successful for Green Bay last week.
Well, that makes me really happy to hear because that's kind of like the Lions' offense is built right now. They ran 22 times with Adrian Peterson last week. They started off good. It didn't go as well the second half, but they still stuck with it because there were some play actions late in that game that they totally bid on, gave Stafford plenty of time on a rollout, and that's where Stafford's at his best in play action. Over the last 5 years, he's probably a top 5 passer in play action. I know he was last year. He was the number 1 passer in play action in terms of yards per attempt and efficiency ratings. I don't think he's in the top 5 right now, but I know he's in the top 10. But that's where he's most comfortable in play action. With Darren Bevel in this offense, he's he's gone to a new level, especially with play action. It gets him in rhythm. He's out of the pocket. That's where he's at his best. So that's really encouraging for me to hear. So I'm just going to get to my prediction now. I think the Lions offensively match up really well with the Saints defense, and I think they do enough on defense to pull out this victory. I'm going to say 31-28 Detroit Lions at home. They are 4-point underdogs, so I'll be taking money line in this as well. You can bet that. Barney, how do you feel about the Lions at home against the Saints here? Give me some love, baby.
I got to be honest with you. I don't see it going well.
Shocker.
I don't think it'll be out of hand or anything like that, but I still think the Saints are a lot better than what they've played. And just Drew Brees, especially with getting Michael Thomas back, and how the first couple weeks have gone with Detroit's inability to defensively do almost some of the most simple things like pursuit angles. I think Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Drew Brees just get it done. I think the over's in play here. I think it'll be a high scoring game. I'm scared of the backdoor cover by Stafford here, but I would probably say New Orleans 31, Detroit 27.
Oh, so we're almost on the same score line there, except you're switching them around. Damn it. But in terms of the defense and the pursuit angles, the biggest culprit of that on our team was Will Harris, our safety, that nobody in Lions fandom understood why he was out there. He's consistently rated the worst safety in the NFL by any efficiency ratings. You can look at missed tackles, blah, blah, blah. But he only played 19 snaps last week. He's being relegated to the bench, essentially, and it worked out really well for us last week, and I look forward to continuing to not see him on the field. Sorry, Will Harris, maybe you're a good guy, but I don't want to see you on the field for Detroit Lions unless it's in an emergency. But Kinger, how do you feel? You saw the Saints last week, so you've seen the Lions, so you have more insight than anybody here.
I'm with Barney on this. I think the Saints still are flying under the radar. Detroit is talented. I don't want to discredit them too much because they are good offensively, but I don't think the Saints are going to lose 3 games in a row. I expect the Brees and Thomas to get right back in stride, or connect right back in stride. The Lions still lack playmakers on defense, and like you said, those short passes does tend to kill them. I'm going to take the Saints in a little bit low scoring game, 24-14.
Ooh, okay. And Remy, how you feeling about my Lions? Come on, baby.
I've said it once on this podcast before, and I'll say it again. I don't ever bet on the Packers, and I don't bet on the Saints. Hate them both. So, yeah, Detroit is going to win this game 27-24.
That a boy. That's what I like to hear. So we're split on this one. That's good. I picked against the Lions last week. I really thought about doing it again just for as a good luck thing or something. I don't know, but I couldn't do it. I feel like they're going to win this game in my heart of hearts. But let's move on. There's no 3:25, no Sunday night, but the Packers get the home game against the Falcons, Kinger. The Falcons could easily be a 3-0 team. Instead, they're 0-3. They've consistently blown fourth-quarter leads and monstrous fourth-quarter leads, as Barney knows, as we all kind of know. So how are you feeling about a good offense coming into Green Bay, at least? I can't speak for their defense as much.
Gentlemen, I just want to say buckle in for this one, because if we're going based off of the historical matchups the last few years between the Packers and the Falcons, we're going to get a high-octane game with a lot of points. Now, granted, all of these games, the past 3 times they've met, actually, none of them have been particularly close. We all remember that ugly NFC Championship game from 2017 where Atlanta just blew the brakes off of Green Bay when we had Ladarius Gunter starting in the secondary trying to guard Julio Jones, 44-21. They met again that following year, 34-23 Atlanta, and then in December 2018, the Packers finally got back on board 34-20. But if you hear all those scores, boys, we haven't had a game below 54 points in those last 3 matchups. The over-under this week is set at 56.5. Vegas was on top of that. It seems like they took what you said last week, Big Z, that a lot of people were going to get on the over, and they're prepared for it. Highest this week out of all the games in the league. But, the Packers defense historically has been the question. Atlanta has had or been known to have a little bit better defense up until these last couple of years. I think we've got reverse roles in this game on Monday night. We've got the number 1 offense versus the 32nd ranked defense. The Falcons obviously have been in every game this year. Matt Ryan quietly is having a pretty good year. He's 3rd in league in passing. So expect a shootout in both ends. But ultimately, I'm pretty high on Green Bay. Again, the confidence here is sky high, and I'm expecting them to go in and hopefully put up some numbers on a very banged up Atlanta defense. And again, they just lost another corner today. Darqueze Dennard went on IR. So gotta like Green Bay at home here.
And do you know the status of Julio Jones' injury by any chance? And any other Packers injuries? Kenny Clark coming back?
So I'll start by addressing the Packers. The Packers is still a little up in the air because we're playing on Monday night this week, and we're off the Sunday night game. We actually haven't returned to practice yet this week. So Green Bay will return back to the facility tomorrow to get back in action. So there's still there's been really no new updates on the injury front outside of Christian Kirksey, who will be out for at least a game or 2 with that shoulder injury. So it's going to be up to Ty Summers to step in, who popped in last week. Julio, I'm not sure. I want to say I saw that he was trending in the right direction, but I don't know any updates. Do any of you guys have anything else or see anything else on there? Because I haven't seen anything as of recent.
I'm just double checking right now. It says questionable. They're monitoring his practice reps closely this week. That's all I have. He was kind of close to playing last week against the Bears. He didn't. I think it's going to be a game time decision for him as well. But Barney, you saw this Falcons team last week. They jumped out to an extremely early lead against the Bears. You're well aware of the Packers' octane offense. Do you think this Falcons team has any sort of shot against Kinger's Packers?
I mean, yeah, they have a shot. They have a really good offense. They failed to just put 3 teams away, to start this year. Especially if they have Julio back, which, that guy's a grinder, and he does, even when he's really banged up, he doesn't miss games. So I was really shocked when he didn't suit up versus the Bears. I would be shocked if he doesn't suit up versus Green Bay, especially with the way the season's going. I can't, as much as I want to pick against Green Bay, just because I hate them and Aaron Rodgers, it's hard. I mean, the Bears, once Nick Foles came in, just absolutely danced all over them. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Nick Foles here, especially with Darqueze Dennard going down. What are they going to be on their 3rd and 4th string corners? I really don't see this. If they're in the game, it's solely because Matt Ryan doesn't drop the ball this time. I do see a very high score game. I love when overs and unders are at the thresholds, right? Because you just know Vegas is scared each way. So I really like the over in this. I think the Falcons can easily put up 28 points on the Packers defense. But I still think the Packers are going to win. So for that reason, I'll say it's going to be a high scoring game. It'll be 34-31 Packers.
All right. That's not out of the realm of possibility for sure, that score. My feelings on this game, everybody, it's insane, these over-unders. The Packers 7.5-point favorites. I like them to be under their season average in offense. 35 points the Packers are going to score. It's insane how much they're scoring right now. And the Falcons are to score 24. So I have 35-24. I think the Packers match up extremely well against this Falcons team. This Falcons defense is brutal. Brutal. So 35-24. That's what I have. Just because I think the Packers are going to be running out the clock in the 4th quarter and maybe slow down the scoring. Remy, You got last word on this game. What do you say?
Yeah, and I stick to my word on never betting on the Packers or Saints. So I think Atlanta goes and gets them. I am betting the over, though, and it's going to be 35-31 in favor of Atlanta.
I wanted to piggyback off of Barney's point real quick because the Falcons have been in every single game this year. They are the first team in 20 years to blow multiple 15-point fourth quarter leads, which is pretty absurd stat. But I do think Green Bay is going to be able to exploit that defensive matchup for sure. I didn't throw out a score previously. I'm going to take 38-24 Green Bay at home.
All right.
Kinger, I gotta cut in here. You just threw out that stat, which is pretty mind blowing. The Bears are actually the first team in NFL history to have 2 comeback victories of 16 points or more in the fourth quarter in one season. So
ridiculous.
Opposite sides of the spectrum there.
Right.
Yeah, ridiculous. All right, so that's previewing week 4. But before we end the podcast, of course, this is Wednesday we're recording this on. This is a Thursday episode, which means it's our best bets segment here. So, Barney, I'm going to throw it over to you to just give an update really quick on the standings for the season. And I think it's going really well. If people have been listening and taking our bets, they've been making money, right?
Yeah, so 3 per person each week. Last week got a 12 bets. We went 9-3. So hats off here. Big Z took the cake going 3-0. You jumped up and joined Kinger and I up in the leadings, the standings. But Remy's close behind. He's nipping at our heels here. And if he gets hot this week, who knows? It could go a lopsided here. But so far, we're doing fairly well, gentlemen. Fairly well.
That's really good. That's really, really good. So, Barney, start us off here, man. Give us your best bets for week 4 of the NFL.
Sure. I think, Baltimore took a thump versus Kansas City here at home. And, I think Lamar Jackson's a video game player, and he's going to want some revenge. I like the matchup at Washington. I think Washington's best feature is their front 7, and that's usually a good matchup, but not for somebody who's as quick and is just lethal as Lamar is. So right now they're laying 13 points at Washington. I think it's going to be an absolute thumper here. I'm looking for the Ravens to win by 3 scores or more. So I'm taking the Ravens minus 13 at Washington. My next bet here, I hit on both of these a little bit earlier today. I like the Atlanta Green Bay over. I do really like the Atlanta +7. However, I just think the over is going to be a lot more fun to cheer for here, especially when Atlanta scores. The over's at 56.5. So I'm going to go the over in that game. And then last, Big Z, I hate to do this to you, but Kinger said he doesn't see New Orleans losing 3 in a row. I don't see it. I think Drew Brees takes advantage of a pretty shitty defense, and I like -4 New Orleans at Detroit. It's in a dome. I think they'll be comfortable. If it was an outdoor game, I might have taken the Lions here, but I'm gonna go New Orleans -4 at Ford Field.
All right, there's your 3 picks. You have a right to your opinion, I guess, Barney, but I vehemently disagree. Let's go over to Remy. What do you got for us, man?
Yeah, so my 3 picks, I'm starting off. You look at this Cowboys-Browns game, and you just almost got to think it's a lock for the Cowboys. I don't know why I don't really usually root for the Cowboys, but something with my gut tells me to take the Cowboys at -4.5. And then actually, sad day in Minnesota when I got to do this, but I'm taking Houston at -4.5. You know, you got to bet. You got to bet with your wallet, not with your heart sometimes. And and last but certainly not least, I like the Chargers over Tampa Bay at +7. There's some bad blood with when Tom Brady was in New England, and I think the Chargers might have him figured out, and my boy Desmond King may record a pick on him. We'll see, but I like the Chargers at +7.
Yeah, and that Chargers four-man pass rush got after Patrick Mahomes. They can definitely get after Tom Brady, I feel. So
exactly.
I do like that. All right, Kinger, let's go up to you, man. Wait, Barney, you got something to throw in there really quick.
Yeah, Remy. I love where your head's at with that game. Turn a negative into a positive. It was a fun year when it was the Trestman and John Fox era. Made a lot of money because people thought the Bears were a little bit better than what they actually were. And if there's some points and there's some money on the table, you might as well enjoy your Sundays here if you don't think you're gonna win.
Exactly. You know what? Let me. I'll change that and I'll bet the over. I'll bet the over in that Viking Texans game. I'll still take the Texans though.
Oh, that's hedging is that hedging your happiness? Is that what you call it, Barney?
Essentially.
Oh, that's a good line right there, Big Z.
Coin that.
All right, Kinger. Let's go up to you, man. What are your three for this week?
All right, so a lot of my games have actually, I mentioned the first game already earlier in the podcast that I liked this week, and again, I'm not particularly happy that I have to do so, but I like the Bears to cover the 2.5 at home versus Indianapolis. I'm not a believer in Phil Rivers. I could see this be a week where he throws 2 or 3 interceptions. Even if this offense is even a step up from what it has been, like it looks like it's going to be with Foles, I don't think Indianapolis is going to be able to overcome that. So Bears to cover at home. I'm with Remy on the Dallas -4.5 over Cleveland. This does look like a game to me that, you feel like Dallas is better than the 1-2 record. You feel like they're going to step up and pound a team. I'm not a believer in Cleveland, regardless if they've won a couple weeks in a row now. So I'm going to take Dallas there as well. And then I'm going against him, actually. He's got the Chargers. I'm going to take the Bucks to cover the 7 points, or they're laying 7. I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I was not impressed. I was impressed very much week 1 with Herbert, not so much last week versus the Chargers versus the lowly Panthers team. I think Tampa Bay is rolling right now. Chargers aren't very good. Tampa Bay's gonna succeed there and cover the 7 points right there.
All right. So I'll wrap this up here with my 3 picks. My first one is the Patriots going on the road to Kansas City. They are 7-point underdogs right now. I think that's too big of a line with how good the Patriots are playing right now. And Bill Belichick against Andy Reid, that's a really fun matchup. Bill Belichick keeps it close with Andy Reid usually, so I really like that one. I'm going to go unders. These are all the late games, so I'm going to be waiting around for these. But under in the Bills-Raiders. The over-under is 52.5 right now. I think that Bills defense is good enough to keep that under 52.5. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I just feel like that's too high. I know the Bills offense has been playing really good lately. And Josh Allen's been a fantasy marvel. I think, what is he averaging, like 4 touchdowns a week or something? But I like the under there. And then I'm going back and forth on it, but I'm going to go with it. I think 7 points for the Eagles on the road. I'm going to take the Eagles +7 as well on the road at San Francisco. That Philadelphia team has too much talent, and San Francisco is lacking it right now, that I think it is a close enough game, especially on Sunday Night Football in prime time. I think they step up and at least make it close.
I keep telling myself that, Big Z. I hope it works out for you.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't thrilled with it, but it stuck out to me. I thought 7 points is too much for that San Francisco team.
Are you aware that basically every wide receiver for Philly is out right now? Alshon, Djax, Rieger, basically the entire receiving core.
Not Greg Ward. Greg Ward's still there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Greg Ward.
Yeah. Yes, I know, but they have Zach Ertz too. I'm just telling you what I'm feeling on that one right now. I just the 49ers against the Giants is not a good measurement of the lack of talent that San Francisco has currently, because the Giants team is just not good. Or the New York Giants, I'm sorry, are not that good. So I think 7 points in a primetime game for the Eagles. They're desperate. They're going to be playing desperate in this game. I think they at least keep it within 7. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they keep it within 7. But I think that's going to wrap up this segment of Best Bets. So please, we advise you, please, again, if you listen on this Thursday, go back on Sunday if you haven't put your bets in, and put them in based on our recommendations. We're hot, baby. We're hot. We're all hot right now. 9-3 last week, as Barney said, but we're all above 500. It's good. We're all making money. I love it. And we want our listeners to make money, of course, too. But that's all we have on this episode, previewing Week 4. The Pylon on Instagram. Please follow us. We're close to 1,000, right, Barney? We're just on the tip, right?
Yeah, I would probably say in the next day or two, we should probably cross that mark. So thank you to all that have followed us, and for all those that write me messages on what you guys feel about how shitty the Green Bay Packers and the Bears are. We all love it. So
absolutely. It's a lot of fun. So And there's always a lot in the stories as well on Sunday as well for you to follow along throughout the day. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast as well, and please share it on social media. Let's expand our NFC North audience if we can. That'd be great. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Kicker, Barney, Remy, and Big Z. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great weekend, and good luck to all your teams.